Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So I had a chance to see Edge of Tomorrow earlier this week, which is why I'm posting this review earlier than I normally do. I'm also going to be posting a video about Emily Blunt as Catwoman, but I wanted to post this video first so you'd understand why I think that might be an awesome thing. Because most of you probably haven't seen the movie yet, I'm just going to do my non-spoiler review first, and then I'll get into spoilers. So there'll be like a clear warning in the middle of the video. But if you're finding me for the first time, since we're in the middle of summer movie season, I'm going to be doing a bunch of big movie reviews each week. Like How to Train Your Dragon, Fault in Our Stars, Guardians of the Galaxy. So be sure to subscribe to get everything, and feel free to suggest movies for me to do. The screening that I went to was actually at Mann's Chinese Theater. It was really cool. Tom Cruise showed up at the end and answered a whole bunch of questions, took a bunch of selfies. I posted a bunch of pictures of that on Twitter and Instagram if you want to see them. The last big sci-fi Tom Cruise movie I saw was Oblivion, which looked amazing but didn't really make me cheer out loud at the end. The director of that movie was actually the guy that did Tron Legacy. This movie is a whole different team of people with the addition of Emily Blunt and Bill Paxton, and they made all the difference. Hail Hydra. It's like Starship Troopers meets Groundhog Day meets Kenny from South Park. And what do those things have in common? Yes, they're all a little bit science fiction, but they all do comedy really, really well, which is one of the first things I noticed about this movie. I found it really easy to connect with the characters, and the way they play with the conceit of time in the movie is really cool too. It's on all the posters, live, die, repeat. It's like video game logic. You try strategy, get squished, and respawn so you can try again. They don't get so stuck on explaining how the whole thing works that it slows the movie down. But I could make like a whole video just about time travel in this movie because the way they chose to explain it is actually pretty fascinating. Tom Cruise at that screening I went to said that he didn't even think of it as a movie about an alien attack. It's like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, where the whole movie just revolves around his perspective as it changes with each respawn. Emily Blunt ended up becoming one of my number one female badasses, at least in the movies this summer. Lady Brienne is always gonna rule the bear pit on my TV. But Blunt works so well in this time travel loop. Tom Cruise is the one who changes a lot each time, so it creates a lot of opportunities to use those respawns for comedy. And they definitely take full advantage of that. The way they set her character up is really awesome too. It's like when we meet Buzz Lightyear for the first time in that first Toy Story movie. Her face is on everything, and she's just like the most elite of elite, which is why whenever they use those respawns for comedy, the jokes are so much funnier. I feel like the humor is what's going to make the movie fun to watch more than once, and there aren't a lot of new movies that I watch more than once now. The only other non-spoilery thing that I want to mention is Bill Paxton. This year's been so good to him. First, he literally killed it on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Hail Hydra, but in this movie, he gets to be the character that conveys the entire narrative, like the speech or turn of phrase that might not seem super important at first, but then later ends up being what the whole movie was about. So when you go see this movie, make sure you pay special attention to what Bill Paxton says. But he also gets to be super funny as expected, and don't be surprised if you get like brain flashes of Hudson from Aliens. The only thing that I would have liked to see more of was Emily Blunt's character, at least her backstory. We learn a lot about her, but because this is a Tom Cruise movie, the vast majority of the camera time is spent on him. She does get some pretty awesome scenes though, but here's where we need to talk about my top 5 moments, so we're going to be getting into spoilers, so careful if you haven't seen the movie yet. But here we go. Number 5, asshole Tom Cruise. I'm talking about the beginning of the movie, before he's sucked into the time loop and starts that Joseph Campbell's hero journey. If you haven't heard about it, it's just a narrative structure that all major hero stories share in common. So whenever big budget movies are made, they typically stick to all the different stages in this picture. I would say that asshole Tom Cruise versus the General was just funny enough that I didn't hate his character in the beginning, but watching him get his ass handed to him in that first time loop was a lot of fun. Number 4, the really funny way they edited all the respawns. I love the way they would just hard cut to make things funnier. They really only use that kind of cut each time he dies. Each new time, the slam to him waking up on the pallet was just a little bit funnier. So usually the editing isn't something you're supposed to notice. Like if an editor is really good, you don't really notice the transitions between scenes. So I really feel like they did a good job of subverting that in this movie for appropriate use of comedy. Number 3, Buzz Lightyear, Emily Blunt. Just to be clear, Buzz Lightyear is funny because he's kind of an idiot. I'm talking about that very first time we as the audience meet her. Her face is on all the billboards, and the newscasters are talking about her like she's the second coming of Jesus, and the army has even made her their public face. She's like the biggest badass ever. And even when Tom Cruise turns into a badass later in the movie, he's still not as good as Emily Blunt. So I feel like it's some vindication for her, at least as an actress, because she's been up for a lot of big action roles and it just hasn't worked out. But I'll talk more about that whenever I do my Batman vs. Superman video tonight. Just to give you a little tease though, originally she was supposed to be Black Widow in Iron Man 2 and Catwoman in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight Returns. It ended up just not working out, but finally she kind of gets to be that Buzz Lightyear super badass character, minus the part about him being an idiot. And number 2, asshole Tom Cruise becomes badass Tom Cruise. The hero montage was just as much fun as all the funny montages, and a lot of times those two things became the same thing. Like when Emily Blunt was constantly forcing respawns by shooting him in the head. I think my favorite badass time loop was the last one they did on the beach, whenever he's doing cartwheels and jumping around Bill Paxton and the other J Company people, and they just sit there with their jaws in the sand. What was that guy's name again? But my number one moment from the movie, Tom Cruise becomes Kenny from South Park. They don't ever explicitly say how many times he's died, but Emily Blunt only made it to about 300, so I think he died way more times. It's really not till after about the first 30 minutes of the movie that he turns into Kenny from South Park and you start laughing at each of those respawns each time he dies. That's really what's going to make this movie so much fun to watch again. For example, Groundhog Day is one of the most replayed movies on television anywhere in the world. That movie is great for a lot of other reasons, but I'm such a nerd for comedy that I always get really excited when a science fiction movie that's as dark as this can make me laugh a lot. But now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments below. What was your favorite part of the movie? Was it all the respawns or was it one of the characters? I would say my biggest question after I walked away from the movie was explaining what the time travel situation is after the Omega is dead. Like earlier, he got the Alpha Blood and was able to control resets for that very specific time point. Then at the end, he got the Omega Blood and was able to go back even further in time. I think the explanation is that the Omega was like the time machine and the blood was like the key that activated it. So now that the Omega is dead, Tom Cruise cannot respawn anymore. Before they explained all the time travel stuff, I actually thought that someone was spying for the aliens. So it was a big surprise, and I'm really glad that they did it the way they did. But as I mentioned earlier, Emily Blunt has been up for a ton of big action roles, and it just hasn't worked out in the past. Now she's up for Catwoman in the new Zack Snyder Batman vs. Superman movie, so I'm going to be doing that video tonight, kind of explaining how that's going to work. Be sure to subscribe to get it. I'm also seeing Fault in Our Stars tonight, so that video will probably post on Friday. But right now, click here to get my big Star Wars Episode 7 update, and click here for my Maleficent review. Spoiler alert, Angelina Jolie was amazing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tonight. High fives.
Do you know what's happening to me? What happened to you happened to me.